Hello everyone, my name is Kimberly McDonough and today I'm going to take you on a virtual tour through the California Science Center. So welcome to the California Science Center. In this photo you can view the view is from the outside, from the parking lot, and as you can see this is a huge building and it's inside we'll find a lot of different adventures, so let's get started. Here is a photo of me outside the entrance. And as you can see, there are a whole bunch of gold balls hanging from the ceiling, and each one is on a clear string. And it kind of just reminds me of stars. And so it was a very cool sight to see. Next, as you enter the doors, you're going to see two large planes hanging from the ceiling. These planes are from the United States Air Force. And what makes this exhibit unique is that you can see the planes from a 360-degree view, which means you can see them from all angles. Next, we have the Gemini 11 space capsule. This capsule was in space from September 12th to September 15th, 1966. And as you can see from the little cutout in the photo, there's two little seats in there. And I was just wondering to myself how the astronaut, or like how the two people in the capsule, like, were they talking about their family? Like, what was it like inside while they were going through space? On the left, we have another view of the Air Force plane as we are going up the escalator. And on the upper right hand corner, you can see an astronaut who is working on something. And it's as if he's in space because he's wearing the astronaut suit. So that was very cool to see. Next, we have the Viking lander, which touched down in Mars in 1976. And the mission of this was to take good pictures of Mars so that people on Earth can get an idea of how Mars looks. And if you look into the background of the photo, there's a photograph of Mars. So it kind of just looks like a desert maybe that we would see here in California, maybe without the little tumbleweeds and bushes. But yeah, it just looks like a desert. Next, we have a telescope. And here is another telescope, which some of you might be familiar with. It is the Hubble Space Telescope. And I don't know if you could believe this or not, but this model is actually only 1/8 the size of the actual telescope. And even though I was standing next to it, I couldn't even see over the top. So it's a pretty big telescope. And now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about some life on Earth. So the picture says all living things, including you, must perform certain functions to survive. We all take in energy, take in supplies and get rid of waste, react to the world around us, defend ourselves, reproduce, and pass on genetic information to our offspring. So another quote that I saw at the museum was, "From apple trees to honeybees, we're more alike than you think." So believe it or not, we're actually kind of alike. We're kind of the same as plants and animals, so that was pretty interesting. On the left is a human brain, and in this exhibit, the human brain was compared to several different organisms, and one of them I could barely even see. I had to get very close to see the brain because it was so tiny. And on the left, we have a smoking chair. And this chair and exhibit was supposed to remind us that we should never smoke because it's very harmful to our bodies. There was actually one part of the museum dedicated to where we live. And so I was able to pretend that I was a newscaster. And so that's me on the left and the right. But if you look on the right, underneath the selfie that I'm taking, there's words on the screen which I was able to read, so it was like it was the real thing. Next we have the island zone where there was two fish tanks filled with fish. And there was a lot of activities to do inside. There was also a lot of examples of animals that we would find on an island. There were skeletons, and there was also some ping pong games in there. It was very awesome. And next was the ecosystems. And on the upper right hand corner, you can see a huge screen, and there was actually 2 of these in the room. And so as you were standing in the middle, you were able to kind of look side to side and see the same thing, talking all about ecosystem and animals. And on the bottom picture on the right, you could see some of the different zones: extreme zone, global zone, river zone, rot room, kelp forest, discovery room. And in the back, you can see the LA zone, which is the zone I was talking about earlier when I was able to be a newscaster. And here is the hurricane simulator. A hurricane is something that you might be familiar with. You might have heard it on the news. But here is a video of me in the hurricane simulator, and the wind actually got up to 80 miles an hour, which was pretty windy. So here, let's see this. So that was pretty fun. And next we have the solar car. About 1,600 solar cells cover the Solar Eagle 2, a solar electric car created by a team of engineering and technology students at the California State University, Los Angeles. It had the fastest qualifying time and won 3rd place in the Sun Rains 93 solar car race. This car has gone faster than 95 kilometers per hour or 60 miles per hour. So that's just about how fast you can go on the freeway. And so on the right is the actual car. And so maybe we will be driving these in the future. I'm not sure, but it's a possibility. Next is a kid zone. And so this was an example of one of the rooms in the kids zone where they could pick what profession they want to be: firefighter, police officer, nurse, and they can get in front of the camera, talk to the camera as if they're in the news maybe. And this was something that I thought was important to include because it's all about earthquakes. So on the left is supposed to be 2 buildings, and so let's watch this. And on the right is the Earth's crust and how it might move and shift and how like an earthquake would look. We were also able to make some slime at the museum. And I saved my favorite for last, which was the Goosebumps, the Science of Fear. So we all might be scared of something: scared of the dark, scared of heights, scared of roller coasters. And so this exhibit was talking all about fear. And so I included a couple fears that some people may have. So are you afraid of animals? So that was funny. Or maybe you're afraid of falling.
2, 3. Everybody give it down for me.
Either way, we all might be scared of something. But the museum also offers different ways to help children and students cope with fear and things they're scared of. And so that was my experience at the California Science Center. And here's another picture of those little gold balls I was showing you earlier. And that's the end of my presentation.